This is Packer and Durham on ACCN and Sirius XM Channel 371.
All right, ready for accounting?
Let's do it.
Don't forget, you're always welcome to submit your accounting. Use the hashtag Packer and Durham. You can tag Mark and I if you wish. Some of you already have. Some of you people are getting creative again.
I like it.
Yeah. Some of you are going Sweet 16. Some of you, like me, more traditional.
Yeah. Sweet 16 is the way to go.
All right, here we go. Let's roll it. I'll go first as always because I got to look at. I'm just kind of locked in on the top four and the bottom four.
This may be the most non-spike list that you've ever given. This is about as steady as I've ever seen.
Pretty close. I had to make one governmental worksheet change, but other than that, BC, you cost yourself a spot. Virginia Tech, I really need to see Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech play. Louisville, you're up one because you beat Florida State, and last week I had Florida State ahead of you, and that was my fault. So I made a governmental worksheet change.
You got that right.
Virginia's up one, Florida State down one. You know,
all right,
it's simple.
All right,
there's not a lot. Trust me, it wasn't as hard as it typically can be.
Well, we had a lot of teams on having bye weeks.
We did. We had four, and this week we have two. Carolina and Duke are both off, so don't sense a lot of change coming there.
All right, terrific. Now let's get to the Sweet 16. Let's get to some energy here. Let's get to some spice. Number one, a change. You notice not TBD this week.
Swiss.
The Swiss are number one.
You're off the line, huh?
The TBD has been eliminated.
You're commit.
We're starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel.
You're committing.
Swiss won. NC State, you impressed me in the second half on the road. Mm-hmm. You're two.
Yeah.
Pitt, no problem. You're sitting there in the 3 spot, leading your division. All that thing is good. Clemson, I guess, is the best of the rest, even though they can't score. Virginia, hey, you keep scoring, you keep winning,
yep.
You're moving up. BC drops one. They got punked at home. Team of mystery. Somebody's got to be 7th. Let's put the team of mystery in there.
Yeah.
Georgia Tech stays about where they are. Florida State's up a spot, even though they lost. But keep in mind, I got rid of TBD.
Yeah, you did.
VPI, LL at home. Again, the Hokies can't win at home. Keep emphasizing Lane Stadium.
Yep.
It's got to get back to being a nasty place to play. Tar Heels, year 11. The Invaders of the North. I tell you, they're playing good football.
They are playing good football.
They just
and they
can't.
Have nothing to show for it.
They just can't win a close one.
Yep.
Miami, you drop. Duke, that's where you deserve to be. 14th.
Gabe Morales?
Gabe Morales is 15th. He's the guy that has a problem with his eyesight. His first base umpire. The last call of the Giants-Dodgers series, and 16th this week. And, man, did you earn it.
Oh, my God.
The landfill known as Neyland. That is Sweet 16 right there. Comments?
Did well. You did well.
We're actually, our picks are not very far apart.
I'm proud of you for declaring at the top.
Well, I needed a couple weeks. I wasn't sure.
Now you've declared.
Declared the Swiss are the team to beat.
John Curry and Coach Clausen very happy.
Yep.
So
Swiss are 1. You and I disagree at 2. It's a flip-flop. State and Pitt.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And, again, we're going to get some stuff playing out here November 13th, November 20th if we stay on this course. We'll get some head-to-head games.
Landfill? You got an issue with Neyland landfill?
No.
Recycling plan?
No. And it has nothing to do with the ACC. I'll tip my hat to the commissioner for a $250,000 fine and
it's ridiculous
investigation and everything else.
I think it's ridiculous. They shouldn't have fined him $1.
I think it's what you do.
No, I think that, you know what, that doesn't solve anything.
Well, I will say this.
You could have fined him $2.5 million. It doesn't solve the problem. You could have fined him 25 cents. It doesn't solve the problem.
By the way, why would somebody throw a perfectly good range ball on the
Why? I said this yesterday on radio. I'm going to say it again today. It's true for an ACC team, an SEC team, anybody. Any idiot, and let me emphasize the word idiot, any idiot that would throw something on a field, on a court, you idiot, don't deserve a ticket for life. You could stay at home, go to your trailer, go to your condo, go to your home, wherever you live, side of the street, I don't care. You don't deserve to be at a sporting event. If you think, hey, I tell you what, I'm going to reach into my pocket, find an object, and throw it on the field or court, you do not deserve to be in a stadium, period.
I will say,
forget the fine. That's what needs to be solved.
I will offer this to you. As serious and as stringent as security and game operations is in college football stadiums of major status in this country, and pro football stadiums for that matter, and I've seen the rooms, and they can focus in on people walking in from the parking lot, and they can identify people in lines and things like that. Let me tell you, if they have this investigation and nobody gets banned, that'll be the shocker. Because with all the gear and all the equipment and all the technology at these stadiums, if they're looking for the people that participate in it, it's not that hard. I've seen all these rooms. I've seen rooms at major college football stadiums. It's unbelievable, the technology, the Big Brother stuff that is in these stadiums now to identify fans and crowds and things like that.
And you're going to identify them, and you're going to kick them out for the end of the academic year? Oh, that's great.
Well,
we have 2 more home games. Oh, I mean, the whole thing was I cringed. I was just like, wow, that's really sending some message. Yeah. Please. You want to solve the problem, solve it. Don't sit there and go, hey, here's a statement, and aren't we tough? Wrong answer. That was a wrong answer. You want to solve the problem, then solve it. And I mean, I have no... I mean, I can't believe somebody... I mean, there had to be somebody standing beside the dude that threw the golf ball. Got to be.
Right.
I mean, you can't justify that. Ever.
No. None of that was justified.
You know, there's not a week that goes by on social media that there isn't a picture of some crazy fight in the stands in an NFL game.
Right.
Or something. And I'm like, what are we doing? Seriously. What are we doing?
Right.
I'm going to a sporting event. Is the intent here, hey, I can't wait to get in a brawl with somebody?
Right.
I mean, how you can do that on the street?
It's crazy.
Don't even waste my time at that. I mean, we are losing our minds, and maybe it's the pandemic. I don't know what's going on. But maybe everybody's just been cooped up for so long that, hey, I've had a few cocktails. Hey, I got the right to do whatever I want. I bought my ticket. Let me go ahead and throw a golf ball at a coach. What are you doing?
Or a bottle of mustard.
Whatever. You know,
I'll run to the concession stand.
I mean,
get the mustard, and I'm gonna heave it from the upper
Saturday
deck.
night was so nauseating because it was such a great representation of college football, and you just ruined it.
Yeah, it was bad.
I mean,
Real
you know,
bad.
and let me tell you something. It's not exclusive to a league or a team. This happens every week that some idiot wants to say, "Hey, guess what? I'm cool. Watch me do this. Hey, yeah, I've had 6 cocktails." That idiot should never be allowed ever into a stadium for life. That's how you solve the problem. Not because of a fine. The guy in the stands, hey, the school's going to pay a fine. It doesn't affect me at all. I'm going to get drunk, and when we get the first bad call, hey, man, I got a handful of nickels.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
That doesn't solve anything.
No, you're right. Leonard Hamilton coming up here in 6 minutes. The one thing about the accounting here at the top, the declaration of kind of 4 teams, and Mark mentioned this earlier, Clemson's visit to Pittsburgh this weekend determines whether the Tigers are in it or not continually, right?
I think. I mean, if you really want to have a legitimate chance to win your division, again, if's the biggest word in sports. If you lose that game and you got 2 conference losses, and the teams, not one, the teams you're chasing have a 0.
Yeah.
And one of them's already got a tiebreaker against you. I don't like your chances at all.
All right. So what we did was we had our staff take the 4 teams, Clemson, Wake, NC State, Pittsburgh, and we looked at what they've got left in terms of strength of schedule and the opponent's record, right, of the teams remaining on those 4-team schedule. Yes, we're going to have a little bit of a round robin. Clemson will play Wake. They've already played NC State. Pitt's going to play their schedule out, including Clemson on Saturday. So how does that look? Well, from a strength of schedule perspective, the hardest strength of schedule remaining belongs to Wake Forest. their opponents are 24-14, and thus it's 25. Pittsburgh at 39, NC State 42, Clemson 43. You see, there's not a discernible difference in their opponents' records remaining. There is when it comes to the Deacons. Now, if you look at Wake's schedule, you can see it, right? Pack in the rundown. But those other three, remember, both NC State has Wake Forest left, and so does Clemson.
That's why I said 2 weeks ago NC State is in the best shape of anybody in the Atlantic. Some folks disagreed with that, and that stat right there kind of proves my point. Mm-hmm. I mean, of all the teams in that list, Pitt's in the best spot because, you know what? The other three in the other division. So Pitt's in a good spot. I mean, they really are. But that crazy Atlantic race,
yeah.
If you said to me, I get to be one of those three teams today, who do I want to be? I want to be NC State.
Yeah.
I do. I want to be the Wolfpack.
Playing with a lot of confidence, too. That's where that thing Saturday night helps a ton.
Oh, when you could go on the road and get that job done, and you're done with Clemson?
Right.
Wake's got to go to Death Valley. Good luck.
Yeah.
Play hard.
You have no idea what you're going to get come Saturday night for NC State down in Miami. Now the Canes, with all the things swirling and injuries compounding it, and a couple close losses for Manny Diaz team might be, quote, the last stand, right? You never know. It's just interesting to see how it plays.
Well, you're going to find out what that character of that football team is Saturday at the Hard Rock.
That's what I agree.
You're going to find out, hey, are they still playing hard and want to compete, or do they mail this bad boy in? Because if NC State goes down there and beats them like North Carolina did last year when everything was, supposedly up for grabs, you're going to find out about where Manny is with that team. If Miami says, hey, you know what, we're tired of losing. Hey, you bring NC State down here. Let's put together a 60-minute game. Then you're going to realize Manny Diaz has that team right where they want. I mean, they're disappointed with the 4 losses, but you're going to find out a lot about the U on Saturday against NC State.
All right. When we come back, we're going to pivot to hoops. Leonard Hamilton's going to join us. He's got another team in the preseason top 25. We will talk to one of our favorites. Coach Ham joins us from Tallahassee next, ahead of our announcement of the preseason poll coming up at 9 here on ACC Network.
The Packer and Durham Podcast. This is the Packer and Durham Podcast.
Packer and Durham on a Tuesday. Guys, right here on ACC Network. Sirius XM 371. All right, let's go down to Tallahassee, Florida. Mm-hmm. You said you saw him last week.
I did.
I missed Coach.
We had a nice visit, by 15 minutes on Monday night.
Man,
it was great.
I missed him.
Love talking to Coach Ham.
I'm glad we got him on now because he's back in the top 25 like he always is.
Again.
Nothing's changed. Coach, how we doing?
We're doing just fine. Just trying. Hey, I'm undefeated. I'm happy.
Now, wait a second. Here, this is your you're in the top 20 again. Third time in the top 25 in the last 4 years. So can we now stop with the new bloods thing? Are we still new blood here? I mean, what are we – you're getting to be old hat at this.
No, we're new bloods on steroids now. Now we get a little recognition.
I know better than that. And you know what? Every year you got a couple guys, they go on to the NBA making a gazillion dollars. And you know what? Every year you find guys, you're like, man, where is Leonard finding these dudes? So with that said, Coach, it was like one of our themes last week because nobody knows what a roster looks like. Give me 2 or 3 guys that you've already seen in practice that may be a surprise for the rest of us because we haven't seen your guys play yet that we can anticipate, hey, you know what? So-and-so may be a really, really good player. Who are those guys?
Well, I think one of the unique things about our club is that we have some good veterans returning that really are giving us tremendous leadership. Malik Osborne and Anthony Polite and Wyatt Wilkes. I mean, the surprise has been Wyatt Wilkes because he's playing at a level that really, really excites me. But we have 4 freshmen. We have 5 or 6 first-year players. Naheem McLeod, we have Caleb Mills, Cam Fletcher, Jalen Worley, Matthew Cleveland. Those guys are first-year guys, and they're the reason if we're going to have a successful year, those are going to be the guys who have stepped up. And, normally most people win with their 1 through 5. We win basically 1 through 10, 1 through 11, because of the way we play. And in order for us to be effective in the system that we like to use, we need the quality of our depth to be playing well. And I expect those guys to step up. They're making tremendous progress. We're not anywhere close to being there yet. But I like to think by January, we can be a pretty good basketball team.
So you mentioned some of these young guys, Cleveland in particular. I'm fascinated about Mills, who missed virtually all of last year at Houston and transfers into your program. Worley looks like a positionless guy who is kind of in your wheelhouse for a development standpoint. You've got a nice mix now of young and old here. When I say young and old, I mean guys new to the program, guys who've been with the program. So how important is this run-up to the start of the season next month in terms of integration and chemistry for those guys?
Well, the first thing, we never put a starting unit together. We mix our guys up every day with different groups of guys. And I failed to mention Talon DeGum. I didn't bring him up, but he's made a pretty good adjustment as well. We think the quality of our depth is the strength of our team, along with gosh, I don't know how I could miss Evans. I guess that means I'm getting old. Evans is steady and doing a great job for us. But I think we're basically where we have been. We have kind of a culture that we developed, and right now, this year will be a reflection of how we've been bringing guys along, allowing them to get experience, and when the guys ahead of them move on, these guys step in, and I feel pretty good about where we are.
Coach, from a fan's perspective, I don't know if we've ever been in a more confusing time in college basketball, just because nobody knows what a roster looks like. But from your perspective, how does this feel different than maybe years past? Maybe it doesn't. You tell me from where you stand on the court.
Well, I feel really good about the experienced guys returning. Even I have 2 walk-ons and Harrison and Justin. Those guys contribute so much. It's the culture that we've been able to develop, that work ethic, and the unselfish spirit that our guys seem to enjoy playing against. So I feel pretty good, because it seems as though our plan is working. We can be void of injuries. I think we have a chance to be a good basketball team this year and represent our league in a good fashion.
What do you
we
think?
Lost some pretty good guys.
Yeah. What you bring guys in though to replace guys, and the guys you lose are talented guys, the ones that go to the league, or even guys that seek a higher ground, if you will, or another ground to play. In this volatile world of basketball, you do such a good job of putting guys together. I mean, you and your staff always find that mix. So does it evolve more into the regular season than it used to in terms of finding that continuity with your team because of the turnover with rosters and things like that we're all going through?
Well, we're all going through a change. I think the fact that we play a lot of guys, I think helps us. We don't rely. Most people play 7 players, and if they have to play the 8th one, they will. That philosophy doesn't work for us. And so we are kind of unknown. I'm surprised that guys are recognizing us, because you never really know. We don't have guys that put big numbers up. And so most of the time people recognize you as a result of the new young players that you're bringing in and the recognition that those guys have gotten in high school or wherever they're coming from. It's confusing now because of the transfer portal and so many guys going one and done. And now it's kind of hard to figure out, predict who's going to be good enough. But we just try to be who we are, and we can stay within our system. We think each year we can compete. We have to find a unique way because of the strength of our conference. I mean, regardless of how you're picked in the preseason, every year you playing against guys that the games are just dogfights right down to the end. So you have to prepare for such, and you're gonna have an injury. You're gonna have something unfortunate happen. That's just the way it goes. Somebody gonna catch the flu at the wrong time, turn an ankle, what have you. And so we try to prepare for that because we have not had that much room for error.
He's trying to incorporate new bloods back into this conversation. Have you noticed that? Because he started talking about rosters and new guys, and we got to get people together. Everybody's new, so he's trying to go back to new bloods, even though, we
will maintain that the new blood recognition is as a result of the respect we have for the ACC. I mean, when you think about it, you think about the success that the programs have had, and the recognition they received for 65 or 70 years. I keep reminding you guys. Florida State was in the Dixie Conference, they were in the Metro Conference, and they were independent. While everyone else was competing in the Big Ten, the SEC, and the ACC. So basically, we're gonna be new bloods for a long time because we were not. We just been invited to the party.
Coach, we are sworn to secrecy until at least 9 a.m. about all the preseason polls for the teams, first team, second team, all ACC. So I'm not going to tell you the information. You're not getting it out of me. But if you had a vote, where would you put Florida State in the pecking order of the 15 teams in the league?
I think I put us in the top four with and those four teams. Either one of them could be number 1, 2, 3, or 4. That's what I would do. I think that we have some teams that are really, really good in our league. Some teams. I think Notre Dame is going to be much better. I think North Carolina is going to be outstanding with their full guards returning. And everybody respects Duke, and Miami is going to be better than what they've been. And it looks like North Carolina State's roster is full, and we really blew out Wake Forest last year in overtime. so I expect them to be improved, and they're telling me that they've improved their roster. Syracuse, Louisville. It's just this is the nature of our league, and those teams with all that tradition and successful tradition, always seem to get the nod on us, and rightfully so. So we're new bloods, and you guys going to stick with us being new bloods for a long time.
All right. You are prepared then. You just mentioned Miami. We were talking about a couple other teams, Wake Forest. We know what Steve Forbes has done from a roster standpoint. I know he's fortified kind of his group as well. You're prepared, though, for this thing to go. When it went to 20 games, I think we were touching base the other night. When it went 20 games, everybody knew it was going to be wild, and it's been wild. Even in the COVID year, it was crazy, right?
No doubt about that. You remember Georgia Tech? They won the tournament, and I think we lost to them twice. And so this is the league. And I said a long time ago when we added just a few teams, that just like in the Big East, the teams, the rich tradition of our league will raise up the level of the teams coming in, regardless. I know. The fact that we've been in the ACC has given us a chance to be relevant now from a national standpoint that probably would have been much more difficult had we stayed independent or stayed in the Metro. The fact that the ACC just reached down and grabbed Florida State and drug us along during some lean years, and now they've helped us get to the point where we're a lot more competitive.
All right, you're still undefeated, so I can ask you this question. This is Coach K's last year. From a personal standpoint, what has it meant to you, to college basketball? We're going to Mike Krzyzewski.
Well, the fact that he's been so gracious with his time, his effort, and whenever he speaks, he's the old TV commercial when E.F. Hutton speaks, everybody listens. Well, he when he spoke about our program, he's always complimentary, and one of the very few guys who gave us recognition when we really needed some recognition as we were building our program. But more than anything else, a guy who has sacrificed that much for the good of college basketball. This guy has given up his time with all the committees, all the running the organizational part. That takes a lot of your time to be that vested in basketball. And then when you take into consideration that he took his time to go and work on the Olympics and change the system and earn their respect and then have a lot of success. I don't know if I could have done that. I mean, because I have all I can say grace over. I feel like I'm busy as I can be. And this guy has been working on NABC committees, NCAA committees. He's worked in Olympics, and then he's been an icon, the winningest basketball coach in the history of college basketball. That is just tremendous, and we're going to miss him very much.
Wow, that's well said. This time of year, how are you? I mean, is it still – I mean, we talk about how long you've been doing this. It seems like you still got that vibe. You still always kind of excited about it. Does it go back to like year one, even when you're down the road a little bit on coaching?
Well, I tell you what, fellas, if I don't come out of the locker room and accidentally go sit on the wrong bench and start trying to coach the other team, y'all gonna be stuck with me for a while. Even if I forget the names of the jerseys, I'll say number 15. Hey, you go in and get number 6, okay? But hey, y'all stuck with me for a while, Chief. Hey, and look at my players say we're new bloods and we're not going anywhere. Well, I'm Coach Ham and I'm not going anywhere. Okay, I guarantee you that. Hey, I'm here as long as I can. Don't start talking that retirement stuff.
I'm not. I didn't say anything about retirement. Did I say anything?
No,
I don't fish. I don't hunt. I don't play golf. Hey, I love what I do. Y'all stuck with me, so you might as well just get ready, okay?
Well, just promise. That's all I'm going to ask you. Just promise, because we love watching you. We love having you on the show.
Well, listen, the only problem I got is I've ruptured my Achilles, and I'm walking like a flat tire. I'm still not quite by there yet. I've been wobbling like a duck, and I got to get go in the weight room and strengthen up some other parts of my body. I'm still struggling a little bit. Because I was trying to hurry up and get to the NCAA tournament and stepped off the bus, and the bus hadn't been lowered. I've been struggling a little bit. But you know what? I'll use a scooter, crutches, whatever y'all need. But I'm here to stay as long as I can stay here. As long as I can be on the Packer and Durham show, at least once in a while. That's what I live for.
I knew this was coming back to co-hosting.
I'm all for it.
I mean, all you got to do. I mean, you know where Gastonia is. It's only 20 more minutes up the road here. So come on. I mean, just let us know. You can have a seat in here. I'll give you a chair on a Friday if you need it.
Hey, Coach, we'll give you the handicap parking spot back here so you don't have to go very far.
Hey, listen, y'all need to talk. Y'all need to give my hometown Gastonia this rightful name. We call it the Gas House.
Okay.
This Gastonia stuff. Yeah, then that's more affectionate. It's a little warmer recognition.
Hey, I remember giving you the key to the city that night as the MC, so you don't have to tell me about it. I remember that night.
Hey, great to see you. Be well, okay? Look forward to seeing your team.
Thank you very much, fellas, and I always enjoy being on your show.
Oh, thanks. Leonard Hamilton of Florida State. The best coming up at 9 o'clock. We will unveil the ACC preseason honors, the preseason poll, preseason all-conference, player of the year, and rookie of the year. We're doing the men today, the ladies tomorrow. Coach
says if he had a vote, he'd put his boys in the top 4. Well, guess what, Leonard? I can't tell you. You're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait to the top of the hour.
All right. On the other side, Conference Cuts Part 2 coming up next. Bronco. Yes, sir. Manny Diaz talking about the visit for the Wolfpack. Oh, and there is Dave Doran. All that and more. Packer and Durham rolls on a Tuesday here on ACC Network.
Packer and Durham. Here's Mark Packer and Wes Durham.
Packer and Durham on a Tuesday morning, 844-SAY-ACC, and the number for the program. Eric McLean will join us during the Power Hour. Always a pleasure to have Leonard Hamilton on the show. As he said, undefeated Florida State. Good time of year.
Yep. Conference Cuts Part 2. We start in Tallahassee. Mike Norvell welcomes UMass high noon here on ACC Network in Game 1 of our triple header. The Minutemen come visiting Bobby Bowden Field at Doak Campbell.
Be sure to get your check and your beating because it will happen on Saturday.
Here's Coach Norvell about what also is on the schedule after Saturday.
Hey, Coach, I know you don't want to look past UMass, but with Florida, Miami, and Clemson, here in the last 6, how excited is the entire team to take part in these, big rivalry games, and especially yourself after last year.
I can promise you we're not going to look past anybody. And that's my focus has been 100% on our football team, where we are, and this week. And, you see a schedule at the beginning of the year, the great games that we get to play. It's why you come to Florida State. It's exciting about the opportunity. But the thing that I believe that we've all learned is that you've got to maximize the one that's in front of you. We are still a very young football team. We're a football team that every day matters, every practice matters. As we have continue to embrace that, and as we've applied that, throughout the course of the season, you see us playing better. There's been examples that have showed up that throughout this year that they were life lessons, and it is and I know I shared that throughout press conferences throughout this year, and you can't take the pain of some of the things that we experienced early in the year and let that go to waste. You have to build upon it. You got to learn those lessons, and every day you got to come here and you got to go to work and just all your focus, all your effort on the job that's at hand. If you get caught up looking at what's ahead, you'll be disappointed in the moment, and that's our sole focus. And yes, we're excited about the back half of the season. The only way that we're going to be able to accomplish what we want to accomplish is if we can do it today, and that's going to be our focus.
Noles are staring a 3-game winning streak right in the
sir.
face. I like their chances.
Yep, I do too. Against Walt Bell and the Minutemen, who are 1-5 coming into Tallahassee on Saturday. Manny Diaz says, although the wins aren't there, Tyler Van Dyke has learned a lot since taking over for De'Aaron King in the last couple ball games.
I think what he's learned these last couple of weeks is he can do it. And he just got to believe himself and trust himself. And there's no magic pill you can give to a quarterback to make him do that. They got to get in the game and know that they can do it in those situations. So, my hope for Tyler is that the way he has finished the last couple of weeks will give him confidence that he can start faster. Because, if Reds get dialing up plays that got guys wide open, really in the first play of the game could have been explosive on not a very difficult throw. It's a throw he's made, a million times in practice. And Tyler sees that. He knows, but again, that's what's playing with a young quarterback. You're going to go through some of that, and that's going to cause our offense some starts and stops at times. That's just reality. There's not a lot of people in the country now that are not playing with their number one guy ripping up and down the field. And the fact that we still scored as much as we scored and had a chance to win the game at the end means we're doing the right things over there, and we got a guy that we can win with.
Wes, I like the quarterback room in the spring. And listen, you want De'Aaron King, right? The experienced guy's a great player. But Tyler Van Dyke's going to be a dude now. That's not my concern with Miami.
Right.
My concern is the tackling is just
it's bad
out the lunch.
It's bad.
You got to be able to put somebody on the ground. And here comes a physical NC State team that will absolutely test your manhood. And if you're not in the mood, they can embarrass you.
Yeah.
So they got to figure that out ASAP.
And NC State will make you tackle them.
No question.
The way they play and line up and run the ball with with Bam Knight and Person and anybody else that's interested. And I mentioned Knighton because Jalen Knighton is the battery now with Tyler Van Dyke as opposed to De'Aaron King and Cameron Harris. So now all of a sudden you swapped out your battery. We'll see where this goes. Going to be interesting. By the way, that is ESPN2, 7:30 Saturday night from the Hard Rock.
By the way, what do you think you get from Miami in this game? Do you get a true effort where, hey, this becomes a second-half game? Or do you think, hey, the first punch of the nose, they say, I'm not interested?
I don't know.
Really, it's $1 million question.
I don't know. Because
I think I know what I'm going to get with NC State.
Right,
I think they've got a ton of confidence after taking it on the road to Boston College.
Right.
Going, guess what? Yeah, we can win away from Raleigh.
Right.
We did this. We dominated. Matter of fact, second half against a really good club that was motivated to see us.
I agree.
So I think I know what I'm getting from NC State Saturday. I want to see Miami make the commitment that, hey, we're still playing hard. Let's come get after you.
Yeah. Bronco Mendenhall visiting with the media yesterday. They've won Dave Doran talking about the lessons his team has learned since that Week 2 loss to Mississippi State.
In my opinion, we were a bunch of guys that played really good in the opener. We had a bunch of players on preseason lists. bunch of guys that had a lot of hype, and they played great in the first game, and they thought it was going to be, here we go again, and we didn't, they returned opening kickoff for a touchdown. We didn't respond well. And I think offensively in particular, it showed its head in a negative way. Instead of sticking together, the guys, hey, throw me the ball, or hey, hand me the ball, instead of just, coach, what's the call? Let's go do it as good as we can. And we learned a tough lesson that day. It was a good lesson to learn. I think we needed that lesson. It's something we had talked a lot about. Sometimes you can't teach them something without adversity. And, this is what I was saying, not that I want to be an I told you so guy, I don't. But these were the conversations we had in training camp. Like, how can we screw this up, that we control? Obviously we don't control injuries that happen, but, when things get selfish or things get fragmented because guys are in an emotional state instead of a focused state, you can have bad things as a football team, and that was a day where we were not, in the right frame of mind after adversity hit us on offense. I thought we did enough on defense to stay in the game. But it was a great teachable moment. I thought our guys took it to heart. They owned it. As coaches, we learned a lot, with our guys in that, and we got better from it. So not that I ever want to lose a game, but I'm thankful we lost that game the way we did that early in the season, because it has helped us.
Okay.
That's what good teams do.
Again, I just think they've got the right kind of mindset as much as anything else. I mean, it's the reason I liked them last week, was because I felt like they have been through enough in the last year or two that they've now got a collaborative effort, really. And you said this, complementary football, all three areas. And they'll take it on the road. And again, back to what I said yesterday, NC State's got to worry about NC State. And they'll be fine.
Ball's in their court.
Oh,
you win your games, you're going to Charlotte.
Yep.
Simple as that.
Yep. When we come back, it leads us to this other discussion. We'll get to the basketball at 9 o'clock. Don't forget about that. What's the most critical? Remember we talked about October 16th for like 3 months?
Yeah. Boy, were we wrong. So now we're gonna double down on that?
Yeah, we're gonna find another weekend and identify it and tell you when. Wow, that's gonna be important.
Yeah.
How about that?
We were so accurate on October 16th.
Like that?
Let's try this again.
Let's see if we can come up with another weekend where we think there might be a big game and you'll really want to pay attention.
That's it. We might have gotten the weekend right. We just had the games wrong.
That's it.
That's what we did.
That's it. Yeah.
That's what we did. We're going to go that route at least. All right.
We got
fake left, go right. That's
Pitt,
it.
Virginia Tech was kind of important, right?
It turned out to be really important.
Boston College, NC State, we really didn't identify that one, but
it was October 16th, like we told you. Right.
All right. So on the other side, what weekend's next? Huh? Don't you worry. We've looked at the calendar. Coming back, we'll tell you why. I don't know. It's not one. Might be two. We'll do that next when Packer and Durham continues on the Atlantic Coast Conference Television Network.
The Packer and Durham Podcast. This is the Packer and Durham Podcast.
Don't forget, a triple header of ACC football comes your way on Saturday. We'll start at noon, presented by Subway. First ever meeting between UMass and Florida State with Chris Cotter, Mark Herzlich, and Jalen Johnson. Then at 4 o'clock, Roddy Jones, Taylor Davis, and I will be at Louisville for BC and the Cards. And then ACC primetime football presented by Geico at 7:30 Saturday night from the grounds in Charlottesville. Dave O'Brien, Tim Hasselbeck, Kelsey Riggs are there for Georgia Tech and Virginia right here on ACCN and streaming live on the ESPN app. One app, one tap. There you go.
Like it.
Yeah. All right, have you looked at these lists? Have you looked at these schedules?
Yeah.
You looked at these calendars?
I have.
Have you identified another week?
No, I have not.
What?
I have not.
How so?
Not. Because we don't have the weekend where it's got the doubleheader. You got a lot of weekends with the game.
But you don't have two.
You don't have two.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does, yeah. That's what I concluded last night.
Because I think, could be dead wrong again,
sure.
I think we've got three teams that have kind of separated themselves with Wake, State, and Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean Clemson can't join the fray. They need to win this week at Pitt as an underdog. They do that, then you got to throw those guys in the mix too.
Okay.
Still.
Sure.
But there's three that I'm comfortable with. Wake, State, Pitt. but you don't really have the combo weekend moving forward where all of a sudden, hey, you've got 2 games going on. Now, if Clemson wins this weekend, changes the landscape a little bit.
Right.
But that's what I'm looking at. That's what I deducted by looking down the road of its schedules.
All right. I think when you look this weekend in Week 8, it really is Clemson-Pittsburgh.
No question.
Okay. On the 30th,
What was that? What was that answer?
well, that wasn't really an answer. The 30th, Wake Forest hosts Duke, but beyond that, NC State has Louisville visiting Raleigh. In fact, that's in primetime next Saturday night.
Well, now it's important. The 3 teams that we just mentioned,
They got to keep winning.
They have to keep winning.
Right.
So those games are always important.
So
Always important. It's like NC State at Miami this week. Incredibly important for
Sure.
NC State, right? And for
Yeah.
Miami, you got to find a win. I mean, so that game's got a little juice because but for different reasons.
Okay.
Different reasons.
Let me take them individually here.
Go
Let's
for it.
start with Wake Forest since they're at the top of the accounting, right? So Wake Forest is at Army on Saturday. Okay, it's a non-conference game, still very important though. The Deacons, it's a challenge too. You've said
Hey.
don't sleep on this one now.
Well, Dave Clawson, the good news is the schedule worked out. They had 2 weeks to get ready for Army. Army's
Correct.
coming off a physical, tough loss at Wisconsin.
They run the spread option that Paul Johnson.
Nobody.
Yeah.
I talked to Brady Hoke yesterday at San Diego State. They're
Yeah.
at Air Force this week. He's like, Pac, nobody wants to play the academies.
That's it.
Not that you don't have
Yeah.
respect for them, you do, but it's just their style and scheme, especially this late into a season, makes it difficult. You got to get ready for it. It's tough, and then the physicality of
Correct.
potential injuries, everything
Okay.
else down the road. So it's a troublesome spot. Not to mention a good team.
All right.
So Wake's got to be ready
All
to
right.
go.
So Wake has Army this weekend. Then the Deacons will play North Carolina in a conference game.
Non-conference.
A non-conference game. Thank you. Non-conference game on November the 6th. They get the bye week. They play Army, Duke. They play North Carolina non-conference. That then leads them to the path on November 13th to play NC State. Okay? The Wolfpack path is a little different because they are at Miami on Saturday. Then they go home to host Louisville. Then they go to Florida State, and who knows where Florida State's going to be. I mean, is that a team getting better? I think so.
No question.
Okay.
But every week's important for
Right.
NC State, Wake, and Pitt.
So that shows you how you get to the 13th. On the Pittsburgh side of things, Virginia Tech has happened. Clemson now is next. Where do the Panthers?
Pitt needs to win this week, Wes.
Pitt needs to win every week.
I just said that.
Yeah. But the game everybody's going to talk about is the one on the 20th with Virginia, if we get to that.
Well, I'm not worried about the 20. For Pitt, it's this week. You're taking on the 6-time defender who's coming in wounded. You're favored.
Right?
You're favored. They're coming to your house.
Mm-hmm.
You're ranked finally because the AP voters were sound asleep all year. So you're now ranked. Pat's been preaching about it's all poison, don't listen to it. But yet people are paying attention to you. Kenny Pickett with a Heiser. There's a lot of pressure on Pitt this week. You got to hold serve. For the last how many times they played Clemson, they've been a 20-some-odd point underdog going, how are we going to do this? They upset the Tigers back in, 2016?
That's correct. Blew its field goal.
In fact, last time Clemson lost a home game. So there's a different pressure on Pitt. And for Clemson, after all those years of being the hunted, now you're the hunter.
Yeah.
And trying to find an offense which has not existed. So that game's got all kinds of juice.
Correct.
But you can't worry about November 20th if you're Pitt or any of these teams.
Pittsburgh also, the only reason you would bring up November 20th in terms of the scheduling countdown, again, if, Pac's favorite word in sports, you lose the game to Clemson hypothetically, it puts you in a situation where the winner of Pitt, Virginia would then potentially have the edge in the Coastal.
I'm not worried about it.
Right.
Not worried about it.
That's the
I'm
only-
worried about Pitt, Clemson this week because the winner of that game will dictate, hey, Pitt's on their, they've got clear sailing or Clemson is now back in the mix, because if Clemson wins this game, the pressure on NC State and Wake intensify because the big boy hasn't disappeared yet.
And just like October 16th for us in June and July, there's one of these weekends we're not even talking about that's going to be upheaval.
Here's the other thing. If you're Wake and State and Pitt, and I know Pitt was in the ACC championship game a couple years ago, there's a different pressure on you when you know ball's in our court to get to Charlotte. There's a different pressure. And it's teams like State and Wake in particular who haven't sniffed it per se, because Clemson's owned the Atlantic. Clemson or Florida State.
That's right.
It's a different pressure. Where all of a sudden, hey, you're behind in the third quarter in a conference game. In the past, it's been like, yeah, okay, we'll try to win this thing. Now you know you have to win it. So, again, there's a different vibe with all this stuff. So week to week will have its own universe, per se, in my opinion.
Have you looked at the standings to pick somebody?
No. I don't do that. You do that. I don't do any of that. I do this week.
Well, we showed you the strength of schedule earlier. It
means nothing to me.
Nothing to you. Yeah.
I mean, in fact, when I saw those numbers, they all looked about the same to me. Oh, great. You know what?
Wake clearly, in terms of opponent strength of schedule, Wake clearly has the harder road.
If Wake stinks on a Saturday, it doesn't matter what any of that strength of schedule, because that's a loss. That's what it means to me. That's how I look. That's why I make fun of FPI. It's like none of those numbers make any sense to me. None of it.
Yeah.
Just go win your games.
All right. When we go to the 9 o'clock hour, friends, ACC basketball. The preseason order of finish is out. The all-conference preseason first team and second team are out. Preseason player of the year and rookie of the year are out. And what we hope will be a normal ACC basketball season with fans and everything else. We give you the countdown next in the Power Hour on Packer and Durham on ACC Network.
Packer and Durham.
Ms. Holmes, please raise your right hand.
She was the darling of Silicon Valley.
Magazine cover after magazine cover.
But now, accused of massive fraud, she faces decades in prison if convicted and continues to maintain her innocence.
This is not fake it till you make it. This was a product that didn't work.
I'm Rebecca Jarvis, and for more than 5 years, my team and I have been following the case of Elizabeth Holmes, and we're here to guide you through every development of her trial, from the new evidence presented in court to how the jury might react to her new life. New episodes of The Dropout available Tuesdays wherever you listen to podcasts.